it's me, Sean Capri. Thank you for supporting us at carpoolgaming.com. What am I even saying? This is the most horsepowerful podcast on the internet. It's the Xbox Drive. I'm on a Skype call with my friend Ryan Turford. He's the meteorologist on the Moose, and today is Black Friday, so we're going to go up and down those sales, and I got a special surprise for Ryan. He doesn't even know what I'm going to talk about in just a second, so jump on into the Xbox Drive.
No power greater than X.
Hello, Sean Capri.
Those sweet beats by JB, Ryan, it's a bop. I think the kids say do they say that's a bop?
I mean, people still say that, Sean. It is.
Can you bop it?
It's not that actually out of school. It's like out of print at this point.
You twist it?
We're playing bop it.
Bop
Sean?
it? You pull it?
Oh my God.
Bop it.
I was reminded of bop it being a thing because of this random YouTube short that I just saw the other day that is about the history of bop it in like 30 seconds. And it was weird. It was weird, man. Going down the YouTube rabbit hole is a little bit weird.
It's a dangerous place, man.
You see some weird stuff there. First, you're Googling Xenobabe, and then all of a sudden you see some weird stuff in the YouTube algorithm.
Give it a quick goog.
Yeah.
And it shows you your soul, Ryan.
That's true. And I don't know if I'm ready to look that deep into my soul at this point, Sean, because there's some stuff in there.
I'm not ready. I'm not looking into your soul nor mine. And I almost forgot how to introduce the show. I've only done this 317 times, or give or take. Almost went into some exclusive Patreon stuff in there for a second.
It's like you were like, man, we could do Xbox Drive today, or maybe we could just do Patreon podcast for Patrons podcast today instead.
Or maybe I could continue playing Xenoblade Chronicles 3 as I was 74 seconds ago.
That's true. I may or may not, folks, have torn Sean away from his precious Xenoblade Chronicles 3 because that's what Friday nights is starting to become.
Play something else though, Ryan. I got a little something for you.
Oh, well, we'll talk about that in a little bit, Sean.
Oh, pin it.
Playlist. We'll pin it, as Sloth would say, because we got to clean the garage a little bit first before we get
it's
to
so
that,
dusty. There's so much crap in here.
I know.
How
There's
get like this.
There's boxes stacked upon boxes, Sean. It's so many.
Know what's in here. Why do we even keep stuff in here if we don't know what's in here? Get it out of here.
That is kind of what garages are like, Sean.
Get me one of those giant bins, like a shipping container. Let me just put all this stuff in there. Like, just get rid of it. And I know there's probably more environmentally friendly. There's maybe upcycle groups I could get on. There's maybe a garage sale that we could have. Just throw it out, Ryan. Just get rid of it. I want to burn it. Just light it on fire. Get me a flamethrower.
No, that's not good for the environment.
Maybe do a yoga flame.
Yeah.
Or
you'll have that guy from Ghostbusters barging down your door saying you're violating environmental laws, Sean, with you burning your garage stuff.
It'll be over before you know it.
Exactly. Well, let's of course clean the garage. So, folks at home, if you want to support the show, there's a number of awesome ways to do that. Number one, if you're watching the live stream right now, right, youtube.com/carpoolgaming, or if you're watching the video on demand later, don't forget to hit that like button, slightly tap that subscribe button if you haven't hit that subscribe button already. Speaking of which, Sean, before I go any further, we have officially reached 1,700 subscribers on the dot.
Nice.
As of like 20 minutes ago.
Hey,
we're on our way to 2,000. 2,000 is just around the corner at this point, Sean. So if you haven't subscribed to the channel already, what are you doing? Hit that subscribe button. We got awesome stuff on the channel all week. Also, if you're listening on audio feeds, don't forget to tap that subscribe button if you haven't tapped it already. And also, maybe leave us a nice Apple Podcast review. Maybe, leave a comment if you're on Spotify. Maybe leave us a little 5-star rating on Spotify or on Apple Podcasts. All that stuff helps the show get discovered. So huge thank you to everyone out there who does that. And then also, if you want one big podcast feed with the entire Carpool Gaming cinematic universe on it, head on over to our Patreon, patreon.com/carpoolgaming, just like Marebrood did, who joined at the gold member tier, because apparently Marebrood likes gold. Sean, I don't know if you knew this.
I love gold.
Yes, lots of people do, because everyone loves Austin Powers apparently. And also, thank you, Donos, for joining up at that exclusive tier after their free trial. Shout out to Donos as well. And then last but not least, Sean, we have some exclusive merch that is happening limited time only. Speaking of Xenoblade, we have the Xenobabe shirt up over on the merch store up until the end of December. Now, if you're watching this the night that we're doing it live, we currently have a Black Friday sale going on, but this most likely will be over by the time audio listeners are heading out. So
unless I forget, I got to turn it off. But it's people should still check it out. I might have forgotten to
You might have
for that thing to be off, but we'll see.
That's true. But if not, you missed out. You got to be following us on Twitter or join that Discord. What are you doing? Join the Discord already.
What are you doing?
It's easy to join. We make sure to throw all that stuff in there, and including the Anyways shirt, Sean, which came back. People love that shirt.
One day only, out of the vault. We're taking out of the old Disney DVD strategy, Ryan.
The old Disney vault. Well, without further ado, Sean, with all out of the way, let's grab our 8 tracks, pop them in. It is time for the playlist, and I'm ready for you to surprise me, Sean, because you said...
Oh, you want the surprise now?
Well, I mean, we're talking about games we're playing, so you told me the surprise is a game you play.
I am not able to pin it any further. Ryan, I put a bunch of holds. I went to epl.ca. It's the Edmonton Public Library website. Okay. I searched Xbox Series X for games and put a bunch of holds, and they all showed up all at once, Ryan. All these games, they showed up.
Oh, man.
So I'm not sure how exactly I'm supposed to handle this situation, but of the games that have shown up, one of those is Alan Wake Remastered.
Let's go.
I was going to make it think like it was the second one. It's not the second one.
I was thinking it.
I need to remind myself. This is I talked about this a couple of weeks ago. I wanted to revisit this Alan Wake because I don't remember loving it. I was like, why is everybody so crazy about this game? So let's see this before I jump into Alan Wake 2. Alan Wake 2 can be next year. I'm not buying new games next year, Ryan. I'll just play 2023 games in 2024. That'll be my entire personality next year. So look forward to that. 52 episodes of that nonsense.
Yeah.
Alan Wake Remastered, Ryan. How far? Like there's still chapters. Like I'm in the Nightmare chapter. Still early in. Mm-hmm. But I don't remember even holding a gun in that game. I remember that game just being the flashlight. And so I've got like a shotgun. I've got a flare gun. I'm taking out all these shadow dudes, like 3 at once. I'm taking on 3 dudes at once, Ryan. Like it's nonsense over here. But the game, I'm still middling on it. Like I'm still like kind of reminded, this is kind of, even though I don't remember holding a gun, I like the acting is almost like, what is the game that it's reminding me of? It's sort of like a Deadly Premonition kind of. It's almost like Resident Evil, like Capcom cheese.
So it's actually trying to be like Twin Peaks, the TV show. Like that's kind of like the idea and concept it's kind of going for. Which of course is not like, your best TV show acting, but it's trying to be like one step above B movie level, but in all the best ways.
Sure. Okay. Yeah, I think I can appreciate that. There's a couple scenes, and these aren't spoilers, but people honestly, like, especially because it's very inexpensive at this point and available perhaps at your local library,
right,
Ryan. A couple scenes I want to let people know about. Number one, you're in a cabin and getting sort of like attacked from the outside, and then all the TVs, there's a bunch of screens inside. They all turn on, and it's an eye, just a single eye looking around, just darting around, and then just die, like way before Overwatch did it. Way before, Ryan. And it's very frightening. And then there's an old lady. She hoops you over, man. She knows what you're there for, and you trust her, and you shouldn't have trusted her. She's by the bathroom. She gives you keys to a cabin. It's the wrong cabin. Yeah. And that's where all this trouble is going, man.
Don't trust the old lady who is wearing the funeral garb in random bathroom in a random diner in a small town.
She looks like a character in the comic series. Nobody will get this reference at all, but The Wicked and the Divine, there's like a ancient goddess who wears the same thing. Very, very similar kind of thing. Okay. So I don't know. How long is this game? How long is this going to take me? Because I got Xenoblade to play, right?
It's like 10 hours.
Okay. So I'm almost done.
Yeah. Clearly. I mean, like that's how long to beat says. I mean, I beat it a little bit quicker, like maybe 9 hours.
Okay. So 17 for me.
But yeah, for you, it's probably a little bit longer.
Got it.
But Nagachaka actually asked an interesting question I want to bring up from the chat. He says, I would like to know, is Alan Wake 2 or Alan Wake Remastered a requirement before playing Alan Wake 2? Like, would I be lost if I don't play the first game? And Jordan actually responds with what I was about to say. It's not really a requirement. It does stand on its own. It obviously has some callbacks to both the first game and Control. So you'll definitely get more out of the experience, I think, if you've played both of those games. But at the same time, I still think you can have a great time with Alan Wake 2 without that. And Nagachaka, I actually think you'll probably enjoy this a lot because I know how much you enjoy Resident Evil's remakes. And this Alan Wake 2 plays very similarly to Resident Evil Remake. So I actually think you'll probably enjoy it quite a lot without even having to go back to the first game. Because yeah, to your point, Sean, I think with the first game, as much as I enjoyed it more than the first time I played it, it's still a bit janky, especially with the combat. Like it's not the best. But I totally, dug the kind of like cheesy story a little bit. Like that's one of my favorite things about it. But Alan Wake 2, I think the storytelling is much better in Alan Wake 2. It's honestly one of the best written games I've played this year. Combined with the fact that the combat's just light years over the first game. So,
I mean, that could be exactly what I need to, gain that appreciation for the second game, is just remind myself like kind of how far they've really come. And I'm also just in a bummer mood this week too. So like, who knows? I don't know if I'm even, it's
That's
just like,
man.
But Xenoblade is still pretty sweet. So I gotta admit, like that's still my happy place. So we'll find out. I also got from the library Jedi Survivor and Callisto Protocol, but I don't know if I had to like give them back Lords of the Fallen and Hogwarts Legacy. Like 5 games like showed up like all at once. So I don't know, maybe next year.
That's so many games from the library, Sean.
The library, man. I'm telling you guys, like Edmonton, pretty good place to live. I'm just telling you, it's cold as hell. There's nothing to do, but it's cheap, and we got a good library. So, and we got McDonald's everywhere. So come on over.
I mean, the fact that every time you talk about Edmonton, I get very jealous, Sean, because I'm like, man,
it's so cheap.
It'd be nice to live there. But yeah, I mean, it sounds like you had a busy week with the library. But as for me, I played some games, not the giant parade of games like before. I only played a couple games this week because I just didn't have as much time for games this week. Still playing Persona 5 Tactica, like I talked about on last week's show, because it's still like I'm still kind of playing it between games, like jamming a couple missions every once in a while, because I'm just taking it slow with that game because I'm really enjoying my time with it. Like there's no reason for me to rush through it at this point. So just trudging my way through it. I know Kevin Ainsworth has almost finished it, Sean, at this point. He just started playing it like a day and a half ago.
How's he not done already?
He's at he's pretty close to the end of the game at this point. But then I'm also playing Naruto Cross Boruto Ultimate Ninja Storm Connections. This is a game I'm actually going to be saving my big thoughts about this because Amanda and I are planning to talk about this in the future. So stay tuned for that. But I am kind of disappointed with this one, if I'm just going to be, plainly honest with this one. I like the Naruto games. A lot of them are actually pretty good. But this one, it's something. It's a game. Look forward to my conversation with Amanda about it because we want to talk about that and then kind of anime games as a whole. So I think that's going to be like an interesting topic for us to talk about on a little like one-off kind of thing we're doing in the future.
I have a question related to this game, but I also have breaking news, Ryan. I just received an email from EPL.ca. Another game has arrived on hold. It's available for me to pick up tomorrow, I guess, when it opens back up again. Bayonetta Origins, Cereza and the Lost Demon is available for pickup, Ryan.
You need to stop asking for games, Sean. They're just
Why do I buy games? Just go to the library.
Yeah, actually, I'm wondering the same thing. Why do you buy games at this point, Sean?
I'm about to buy a lot more after this. I'm eating my feelings right now, which they taste a lot like Reese's peanut butter cups. So my feelings are delicious, and retail therapy on Steam and Xbox sales. So I'm in a great place, just like mentally, like everything's great. Everything's great. The question that I have, speaking of being mentally great, Naruto Boruto makes me think of burritos. And so, Ryan, this is a question that I think I would ask if I were a listener of the show. I'm dying to know if Naruto Boruto was a burrito, what kind of burrito would Naruto Boruto be?
Well, it would be like a seafood one. Because it's very Japanese inspired, so it makes sense that it'd be kind of like a fish burrito, with lots of differently colored vegetables in it. Yeah,
good answer.
That's
good answer.
Kind of brutal.
Yeah, I'm not sure how I'd answer that. So
I don't know either. But anyways, so that's Naruto Cross Boruto Ultimate Ninja Storm Connections. It's one of the longest titles of the year for any video game. But speaking of long video game titles, Sean, the other game that I've been playing, which I'm actually pretty excited to talk about, Jurassic Park Classic Games Collection. This comes to us from Limited Run Games. Of course, they're starting to publish games now, which is weird because limited runs have always been known for doing reprints of games that are already available digitally, giving them physical versions. But now they're starting to like develop games themselves, and they're using the Carbon engine, developed, of course, by YouTuber MVG, Modern Vintage Gamer. He actually has a lot of great videos about that as well. But basically, it's really good at emulating old games. And this collection, let me tell you what, Sean, if you want old games, if you want to relive our childhoods of growing up with Jurassic Park in theaters and playing old, 8 and 16-bit video games, this is the collection for you because it has Jurassic Park on the NES and Jurassic Park, all the Jurassic Park games on the Game Boy and the Super Nintendo and the Sega Genesis. I spent so much time playing these games as a kid because I was obsessed with Jurassic Park. I loved dinosaurs as a kid, even before Jurassic Park came out. So then when Jurassic Park, the video games started to come out, I was like, I'm begging my mom to get these games. And sure enough, we had Jurassic Park on the Genesis to start and then started to accumulate kind of the rest over time. But this collection, I think, is really good. It's got a lot of great features. There's a rewind feature. Some of the games are like pretty open-ended, especially like Jurassic Park on the NES and Super Nintendo have like pretty large maps to them, but there's like in-game maps you can pull up with like the click of a button, so you don't get lost very easily or anything like that. There's like full save states and everything like that. There's great emulation on these games. Like, I think this is a pretty good collection of games. Like, I only wish there was more like behind the scenes stuff, because a lot of collections we get like little like art books, or we get like interviews with the developers and things like that. And that's something I wish we got with this collection, because it'd be interesting to find out more about the development process of some of these games. But I just really enjoyed going back to these games. Yes, they're not, the greatest games in the world, because again, they're, licensed games from the early 90s. So obviously the quality is not going to be amazing, especially because some of them were made by Ocean, which infamously is actually an even worse publisher of NES and Super Nintendo games than someone like LJN is. But I don't know, man. Some of these games are pretty fun, especially like the NES and Super Nintendo versions of Jurassic Park. I think they're really good. But yeah.
Better than Genesis?
I mean, the Genesis ones were always the ones that we were always excited about as kids. But going back to them
they
now,
were advertised to us.
They do not hold up well control wise. Like, I can see why we really like them, at the time, because you kind of use like they're almost like they have like the kind of realistic looking actors and dinosaurs in them, kind of like Mortal Kombat does, where they had like digital scans of real people. So at the time they were graphically impressive games, but those games do not control well, and they are very hard. Like, I'm actually impressed that as a child I was able to beat Jurassic Park on the Genesis, because you have to be able to beat that game with 3 lives and no continues, and you die, like everything hurts you in that game, and it makes you very sad. So yeah, it's I think it's those games don't hold up as well as like the NES Jurassic Park game, or actually the Game Boy ones are really good too. Like, I was actually pretty surprised by how good the Game Boy Jurassic Park games were.
Ryan, that reminds me, I was a click away. I was a split second away from making a very expensive bad decision. Did you see those analog pockets went on sale? The old Game Boy colors.
Yes, I actually have the analog pocket, John. I have it in white though.
What a device! Came out. Yeah, dude, I was a split. I had a green, like a I guess a forest green Game Boy, like the old brick one before they came out into the smaller ones, pockets and things like that. I was so close, dude. I should have done it. Because they're gone. They're long gone. But I had it, like, it was in my my cart. I just need to click on it. And I decided against it, but it was definitely like, I actually like some of the other colors better, but it would have been I think it would have been like a $500 Canadian purchase for this.
It would be, especially because like it's already expensive, but then you also have like $60 of import charges when you eventually get it.
Oh, really? I wasn't even counting for that. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
In fact, one of my coworkers, he came by my desk today because he got the purple one and it just came in today. And it looks really nice in person. But he was telling me, yeah, like he got nailed for like a $60 import charge. Ooh. So it ended up being like $500. It's a great device, but it is very expensive. Whereas it actually was a little bit cheaper for like the white and black versions when it first came out, and then these colored ones.
Well, they know what they're doing with these colors. They know exactly what they're doing, so they can charge whatever they want, and they make like 4 of them. So you know.
But one of the cool things about it, and one of my favorite things about the Analog Pocket, Sean, is the fact that Analog has like the Analog OS on the handheld that allows you to like slide an SD card in, and if you have ROMs on it, you can actually play those instead of the cartridges. So like I'll have like all entire Game Boy like library around with me rather than bringing the cartridges with me, which is like super handy. And it's actually like one of my favorite consoles to bring with me on the road. Like I don't even usually bring my Switch with me. It's usually the Analog Pocket that actually comes with me. Like playing old Game Gear games and stuff like that on it is really cool.
Well, and the other reason that I mean, the price was definitely one thing, but I also got for my birthday, I think I remember telling you about, like, it looks like a Game Boy. It's like on Amazon. It's like straight from China. It's like a RX 3077 or something like that. And it's the same thing. Like you can load it up with ROMs and it plays Game Boy, Super Nintendo, Game Gear, that kind of stuff. And I just don't find that I play it that much. And so I don't know, like, do you feel like there's a difference between the two? I feel like there must be something that allows Analog Pockets to cost so much compared to this thing, which was like $100.
There is a reason for it, Sean. So the console that you're describing, the little handheld from Amazon, that is strictly emulation based, whereas the Analog Pocket uses technology called FPGA, which is a whole giant thing I could go into for like 20 minutes.
Like the female,
do here,
like the golf, like for female golf. Is that what that is?
Sure. But what it actually does is it basically replicates the hardware from the original consoles in such a way that it's almost indistinguishable from playing it on an original Game Boy or Game Boy Advance. So you don't really have lag or a lot of the problems that you have with some emulated games, you don't have with a device like the Analog Pocket. Like the success rate's much better, or likewise there are some games, believe it or not, Sean, for the Game Boy or Game Boy Advance that have like copy protection features on them. Like there's a game called Shining Force, which is like a strategy role-playing game, and if you play an emulated version of it, it will like one of the characters will not level up, and he's like the best character in the game because it detects that you're playing an illegal copy of the game. So yeah,
maybe I just don't play enough to like run into the issues. I fire up the game. I'm like, this seems like Donkey Kong Land to me. Like I don't know.
Yeah, I mean it really just comes down to latency a lot in a lot of cases, especially with games that heavily rely on like pitch perfect jumps. Like something like Mega Man on the Game Boy really requires like precision platforming in order to not die and be frustrated all the time. So it's one of those things where that's why like something like that actually helps.
Maybe I'll just say I just got to save up and then be ready for the next time these things go on sale. That's the other thing too, is like they kind of just like pop up. By the way, I think it was the 17th they went up or something like that.
And it's actually the second time they did like a special version of those as well, because before that they did the transparent colors.
Yeah, I know a lot of people are super nostalgic for that. Like like they nailed it. Like this was the one for me, and I missed it. The build quality looks great too, and I think there's other things like you can. I mean, everything is so expensive about it. You can buy those docks, and they're like there's these add-ons after add-ons. So, but in any case, I just wanted to tell you about that.
Yeah, no, I love Analog. I wish their products weren't so expensive or so limited, but I think they make great products because I own the Pocket and the Analog Mega SG, which is their Sega Genesis.
Oh console,
which is also very good too. But anyway, Sean, we should probably get that to Xbox.
Nothing about Xbox on that.
Yeah, well, let's slide into cruise control out of this, Sean, because it's time to talk about Black Friday. I wanted to talk about this because this is interesting. Obviously, there's a giant sale going on the Xbox store front right now. In fact, it should still be up even if you're listening to this kind of in the middle of the week next week. I think it's going for like a week and a half, which is the main reason why I wanted to kind of bring it up today. So I wanted us to give our picks for games people should check out if they're looking for game suggestions on thing, because as Seth pointed, it's a sale and we got to talk about the sale that's happening on Xbox right now, Sean. It's exciting.
Ryan, I love these sales. I have been like scrolling through lists of games. I'm on Steam. I'm on Xbox. I've got the eShop. I'm going through all of the things. I also think that there's like an end of year sale that often happens as well. I feel like oftentimes that's better. That's
the countdown sale that usually happens around New Year's. And in fact, the main reason I also wanted to talk about this now is because a lot of the games that we're going to talk about tonight generally are also the same games that are on sale during the countdown sale.
Yeah,
So
no, the same kind of things that you.
So this
typically see.
conversation will continue into like the new year if you don't want to even
Yes.
pick up, if you want to wait for that sale instead
Mm.
for the better deals, especially with the games that came out this year. Because like
Yep.
those are the games that don't have the big heavy sales on them. It's mostly the games that came out like before this year that usually are like the ones that are like half off or 75% off, or in some cases 95% off.
Well, I want to start there, Ryan. There's 2 games that are 95% off that jumped out to me as like you just have to buy these games.
You might as well.
Do you want to? Okay, I'm just gonna jump.
Yeah,
in.
just jump into it. Do it.
95% off Star Wars: Squadrons is $2.74 Canadian. That's like $1 US. Dude, that game is pretty like for $2.74. I'm just adding it. I'm buying it on Steam too. I'm buying it on Steam and on Xbox.
Yeah. I mean, it is on EA Play, so that is the only downside to that. But at the same time, if you don't have Game Pass, like slam dunk, that game is awesome, and why not buy it for $1? Like
totally.
Bring out the meme, Sean, the meme from RoboCop. I'd buy that for $1.
You know what else I'd buy for $1? $1.29. It's also on EA Play. Mirror's Edge Catalyst is absolutely worth $1.29. Dude, I can't even. You know how much I spent on this Diet Coke from McDonald's, Ryan?
Like $2?
Like $3? Almost $3. It's like $2.80 or something like that. And you get Mirror's Edge Catalyst for $1.29. It's like a pricing error.
Yeah, pretty much.
Get it?
I mean,
that game is worth $1.29.
Yeah, and that's a sign, Sean, that dollar drink days are over at McDonald's. Let me tell you what. But also
days on Xbox and Steam.
Another game, Sean, that's worth it for the $1 that you're also putting to, which is $2.99 Canadian. Dungeons and Dragons Chronicles of Mystara. This is a Xbox 360 game through Backcompat, but this is based on this is a port of the 2 Dungeons and Dragons arcade games that also appeared on the Sega Saturn, but they're basically like beat 'em up role-playing games, but in the world of Dungeons and Dragons. And they're very, very fun games. Like they're very much like Dragon's Crown on PlayStation, if you ever played that game from Vanillaware. But they're really fun beat 'em ups if you like beat 'em up games. They've got multiple paths, so there's great replay value. They look gorgeous because they gave them a nice coat of paint when they did the remaster of them on 360, and they look great on the Series X. So $2.99 for Dungeons and Dragons Chronicles of Mystara. I wanted to highlight that one too because I think that's a great buy for.
What else you got? I'm not into that.
So the other 360 game that I wanted to get out of the way as well, that I actually mentioned on last week's show, but I want to mention again because it's really good. Fear 2, Project Origin.
Yes.
$7.49 Canadian or $5 American for Fear 2. Like that's a
Fear 2 is
steal.
great.
That's an awesome first-person shooter with horror elements. You're fighting these like psychic soldiers, and it's really, really, really good. I love Fear 2. Like, in fact, I love just the Fear series in general, and it makes me sad that we don't have those games anymore, Sean.
Who was that? Monolith who made that game?
It was Monolith, and now they're just making DC games because they got Wonder Woman coming out, and it's a live service game from what we heard. So it's going to be fun.
It's got a weapon in it called the Penetrator. It's worth the $5 right there, Ryan.
Absolutely,
penetrate all your enemies.
Yeah,
up against the wall.
The next one I want to bring up, Sean, it's like this one is not like 90% off, but it's 80% off. And you're pretty stupid if you don't own this one, or if you don't want to go and buy this one. Tomb Raider Definitive Survivor Trilogy, all 3 Tomb Raider games, all the DLC, like $23.44. Like, what are you doing if you're not buying this? Like, this game's really, like, this trilogy is amazing. All 3 of those games are awesome. And for $23, you can own one of the best trilogies on the Xbox One generation, Sean.
I mean, Rise of the Tomb Raiders, and you can get them individually. Like, you can get the Game of the Year edition, I think it was, for Rise of the Tomb Raider, which has great DLC, by the way. The Baba Yaga or whatever it's called, like that, the witch little DLC story, that's really cool. The stuff going on at the mansion, very cool. I talked about it earlier. I think it was this year, maybe last year. I don't know. Time's a weird thing.
But Shadow of the Tomb Raider, I think, is great too, and it also got a lot of really good DLC. I know people have mixed feelings about Shadow of the Tomb Raider, but as a longtime Tomb Raider fan like me, I really enjoyed it. In fact, Sean, I like Tomb Raider so much that Magic the Gathering put out Tomb Raider cards this week, Sean, for $20, like a pack of like 8 cards. I totally bought them.
You need to talk to Donnie and Josh on PSVG. We're talking about Magic the Gathering. You need to check that out. You could
I should
they
definitely do
they
that.
might have a little something going on over there. I was thinking about you.
I did actually mention to Donnie in chat because he mentioned he got the Lord of the Rings
Yeah.
Magic the Gathering decks. So, but I know he's learning how to play them. But I can't see, says in the chat, I need to look for DuckTales Remastered, Hogwarts Legacy, Sonic Frontiers, and Diablo 4 upgrade add-ons. I think those are a lot of great games that are on sale too. So just want to give I can't see a shout out as well. But Sean, did you have any more? I have a couple more, but
I have so many more, dude. You said 80% off. So I actually have my list categorized by percentage off, starting off with that 95% off with those two games, Star Wars and Mirror's Edge. But you jump to the 80%. We'll take 80% off for 200. Alex, rest in peace. Doom 2016 is $4.99 Canadian required. And look, I know this is in Game Pass. There's a couple in here. I tried to steer clear of the Game Pass games, but Doom, you just own it. You just have to own that game. Is excellent first-person shooter, obviously. And shout out to my girl Cassandra, Assassin's Creed Odyssey, $15.99, which seems kind of high to me, honestly, like for a sale like this. But just goes to show that game is still beloved. Like they don't need to bottom out on this one and give it away for $3.
Well, I think that version also is the one that has all the DLC too. Right?
Get it?
Yeah,
get
like
it.
That, and the DLC is really good for Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Yeah, that's like 100 hours of game for $15.
At least, dude, I played that game for like 4 months. Yeah, one if not, I think I named that my favorite game of that generation. Very, very cool. At 90% off, Ryan. Again, I think some of these are on either Game Pass or EA Play. You give a quick shout out to Prey, which is $3.99, which I picked up on Steam. Nice. Dishonored 2 is $3.99. Dishonored 2 is very good, and I don't even like those kind of games, and that game is very good. And Battlefield V or 5, Ryan. Shout out to the Battlefield games. Battlefield V or 5, Battlefield and Battlefield 1, which was a World War I game. Dude, pick up those before you start whining about any Call of Duty stuff or this current state of Battlefield. Those two games, to me, those are as good as Battlefield ever got. Was 5 and 1, which was weird the way they did the naming.
The campaigns for both of those were really good because, like, the multiplayer, I think they turned off both of the multiplayer for those at this point. But I think but the single player is worth it for the price you quoted.
Totally.
And actually, Sean, I know you said like you tried to steer clear of Game Pass games, but I think it's important to highlight those for people who don't have Game Pass because there are a surprising number of people out with Xboxes, Sean, that don't have Game Pass. Like, don't have the at least above the bottom tier of Game Pass, I should say at this point.
For me lately, Ryan, like I feel a shift in that. Like for a couple of years there, I still am all about Game Pass. It's still definitely the best deal in gaming. But it is fleeting. You know, you never know what's going to show up, what's going to go away. Prey, Dishonored, those are going to be there forever. But at the same time, it's sort of like what Christopher Nolan's talking about with all this streaming stuff. Like just get the game, just own it, you know? Yeah. So I especially when it's this price, if it's called double dipping, even though it's in Game Pass, then I'll double dip, you know?
Yeah, because you never know what happens if they decided to remove one of those games from Game Pass at some point. Because you never know what happens with the licenses for some of these games. Right? Like especially with Forza. Like Forza is the one game from Microsoft Game Studios that we always know leaves Game Pass. So it's always good to like pick your moment to pick up Forza.
Yeah, those annualized ones, which they're not always better than next year. You know, like Forza Horizon 3, you can't get on Game Pass. So good point.
You can't even buy that game anymore.
I know that's why. Yeah. And that's a shame because that game is, and there's many like it. That game is really good.
I actually think like we're coming close to the time where they're actually going to probably delist Forza Horizon 5. So like people out there who don't own it, that was the time to start looking for.
Why do you think that?
Well, because it's just the usual timing of like every 2 years. They usually delist the
I feel like I feel like you got to wait until the next one comes out.
Because I think 4 got delisted earlier this year. So
out of game, 4 isn't in Game Pass.
I don't think you can buy it anymore.
No, it's on sale. I feel like it's on sale.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Sean. Because I know they do that. They have a pretty solid cadence for delisting the Forza Horizon games because of the car licenses of all things.
That's fair.
Yeah. But
yeah, no, I'll check in here. I'm checking in 2 places, on PC and on.
Well,
you can definitely buy Forza Horizon 4.
Yeah. Well, Sean, while you look that up, I'm going to bring up one collection of games that, of course, is near and dear to my heart, but also near and dear to Sean's cosplaying heart. which is a collection of like 20 games. The Mega Man 30th anniversary bundle. It's $40. It contains every Mega Man game ever made, other than, of course, the Mega Man Legends games. But this is an incredible collection of Mega Man games. I love Mega Man. It's one of my favorite series of all time.
I am Mega Man.
And like Sean is Mega Man.
That's me.
So I had to mention it here. In fact, I was very tempted, Sean, to put a little Mega Man on the thumbnail. But
I got to get a costume. I got to work on that. I got to work on that cosplay.
I mean, I'm already looking at like Naruto ninja costumes, and then you're looking at Mega Man costumes. Like, what are we doing? What are we even doing?
No, I want you to make a Naruto burrito, Ryan. Just eat it on the next podcast. Yeah, just bring a burrito to the next show.
Excellent.
That would be good.
Excellent. Although actually, like, it would be more fitting probably if I got like a Samus power suit and wore that instead. Probably. Because I mean, you know, I'm repping the Metroid shirt today, of course, because that's just who I interpret is at this point. But anyways, moving on, Sean. What percentage you want to move to at this point?
I'll take 75% off. I'm going to throw at you, Ryan, Outriders, which may still be on Game Pass. Was on Game Pass.
Left.
It's like $10 US, as my guess. It's $13.37 Canadian. We got all these whacked out prices.
Yeah.
Which I have already played. I might end up picking that up because if it's out of Game Pass, I guess I can't play it anymore. The World Slayer DLC, which I think you played, is also on sale. 30. This holds its value like crazy too.
Yeah. I was gonna say, if you're gonna pick up Outriders at all, folks that haven't picked it up yet, make sure to get the bundle with World Slayer, because World Slayer is really good and it's worth.
I think I'm gonna do that.
Yeah. If you're Outriders, I would do it.
I don't want people to forget about this game, Ryan. It's easy to forget. There's tons of games happening, but Outriders that was so fun, man. I really enjoyed that one. Shout out to that. Shout out to Ori and the Blind Forest, $6.24.
That's a slam dunk.
Probably coming to Game Pass at a certain point here, Ryan. Spyro Reignited Trilogy should be on everybody's Xbox. This game is so great. It's beautiful. It's under $20. It's probably about 15 US, 19.24 Canadian. Very, very good. And maybe my last shout out, in addition to Titanfall, which always goes on sale at this point, $5. Quantum Break for $10.22.
Let's go.
It's random prices, man.
Let's go.
Quantum Break, very good, except for the final boss.
I mean, if y'all have not played Quantum Break yet, what are you doing with your lives? Quantum Break's very good. Very, very, very good. So the other ones I want to give a shout outs to. Number one, another collection. I love collections, Sean. You know me. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the Cowabunga collection.
Got it. Yep.
$24.99. It's got all of the best Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles games in it. And it's a very, very solid collection. You get to learn about the history of these games and what makes them awesome. And I just really enjoyed that collection a lot. Marvel's Midnight Suns Legendary Edition. Now, the base game for Marvel's Midnight Suns is pretty cheap. It's like $20. But if you're going to pick up Marvel's Midnight Suns, spring for the Legendary Edition. It has all the DLC. And all the DLC is really good for that game. That's a very good tactical role-playing game that just a lot of people missed out last year on. And I'm here to tell you the truth that Marvel's Midnight Sun is very good, and you all should play it. And my last one that I wanted to give a shout out to is, and this one might be waiting until December if you don't want to pick it up now, Street Fighter 6.
Nice.
It's $53.59, so it's not super cheap, but it's also the best fighting game I played this year, and probably the best fighting game I played in like the last 5 years. It's very, very, very good. Definitely worth the price of admission. Also, if you're interested in Resident Evil at all the Resident Evil stuff is on sale. Basically, everything Resident Evil, you can go pick it up. It's pretty cheap. Like Resident Evil 2 remake, Sean, is $10.
Yeah.
Or 3 remake, $10. Resident Evil Village and its DLC, you can get for about $30. Like, there's lots of good stuff on sale right now, Sean. It's pretty good.
I like it, Ryan. Yeah, I picked up 2 and 3 on previous end of year sales and whatnot, but only played through one character on each game.
Right.
I haven't played through Claire on 2, and who's the second on third? On the third game?
No one. It's just Jill.
Oh, didn't they do? Wait, what?
Jill's the only character in 3 that you can play.
I don't know why I thought it was like
because she teams up with Carlos throughout the game, but you don't get to play as Carlos.
I might be misremembering. Hang on. No, I'm an idiot. I was thinking of 4. I did buy 3. I haven't played it yet. I was thinking of 4 because they just added the DLC for. Yeah. Who's in is that Claire?
It's Ada Wong in
Ada Wong. That's right. Oh, and Nagachaka was playing. Oh my God. There's too much. It's too much, Ryan. I can't keep track of this.
By the way, Sean, I think that this is finally the weekend I'm going to make time to play Separate Ways because I haven't played it
Oh.
yet. I had to actually mute Nagachaka's Twitter account when he kept posting spoilery
Damn.
pictures from Separate Ways for a month. And I of course have unmuted him at this point, but I was just like, I want to play this at some point. I think this weekend's finally the time for me to hop into Separate Ways. I'm excited for it.
Love it. Nice,
Yeah.
man. Yeah, they got the Contra collections. They got Castlevania collections. A lot of good Ryan Turford collections. Mega Man
100%.
collections. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, especially like the Konami collections that they have there because they're all like $10. The Castlevania collection's $10. Contra collection's $10. The arcade collection's $10, but that one's okay. I don't know if I recommend that one, but Castlevania for sure. Like that collection's awesome.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that's gonna do it for our Black Friday conversation. But we've got more to this show, Sean, because real quick, I want to slam the brakes on this conversation. It's time for some breaking news because we saw some people in the Discord mention this one, Sean, and they were a little bit up in arms. So I wanted to bring this up just to talk about it for a quick second. So the Microsoft Rewards app is being discontinued and instead will be accessible via the dashboard in the Rewards tab. In fact, that Rewards tab is already there. You can go to it right now. And while this move makes a lot of sense to just not have a separate app for this, if they build it into the dashboard, it does remove some rewards that were only available via the app, including some rewards with very large payouts. Like there were like some weekly quests in there, Sean, where you could almost earn a $5 gift card like every 2 weeks by doing those rewards, which adds up pretty quickly if you do them all the time, which is too bad because that kind of makes me sad a little bit.
I was never able to do that, dude. Like the dedication, I come at this from the opposite, and just to like give people a fair heads up. And I'm very sorry if I'm sorry if you were attached to this program and to these rewards and whatever like that. Sucks to be you, I guess.
Yeah.
But I genuinely like I am sorry about that. For me personally, just me coming at you like with how this news hit me, 0%. Don't care. Like I can't come in and pretend like, oh yeah, that's a shame. Like I'm probably the reason that they made these changes because like I imagine there's a lot of people like me who just like couldn't have been bothered for this kind of stuff. So whatever, dude.
Yeah. So what you're saying, Sean, number one is you're going to go stand outside some people's houses with a boombox in your hands, blasting "Sucks to Be You" by Prozac.
Exactly.
Just to get the point across.
Oh my gosh.
I know. And then number two, you mean to tell me that you're not dedicated enough to be playing Microsoft Jewel 2 every single day via the Xbox app to get 30
who has
extra
time for
reward
this
points?
stuff? Who has time? Like you're going on Bing and you're doing all these like weird quizzes and whatever else for a couple points. Like, what are you doing with your life? Like,
I love this very topical because Garrett Bland and I talked about it on RPG Cave this week.
I know.
Well, we came about to the realization that we both do this every single week or every single day.
I mean, good for you. God bless you both. But
I hop in for like the 30 seconds it takes to do it, to just do it and it's done. I just get those extra points. But
no,
yeah. So yeah, because I'm also in the same camp as you, where it's like, this move just makes a lot of sense because I think they can't just keep giving away rewards points like just for free like that. Like I think it makes sense for the company to kind of cut down a little bit on that and to give you kind of like a streamlined reward system.
Do it like reward me for playing. Like, let me just come up with maybe a crazy idea, Ryan. Like, like I'm just gonna come out of nowhere with this.
I'm ready for it.
Maybe reward me for like buying and or playing the video games. How about that? How about we just like hone in there? Not going to bing.com and chatting with whatever's going on, whatever AI is happening over there. Like, I want to play games. Like, do that. That's great. Like Nintendo. People have a lot of things to say about Nintendo. I get gold coins when I buy stuff over there. That makes a whole lot of sense to me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we get that still on Xbox. Like a certain percentage of everything you buy on the digital store gets converted to point. And then also there are certain games in Game Pass every month that if you play them, you then get also additional points for that too.
Sounds
so they
good.
already have that there already. But,
perfect. More.
Yeah. Right now, there's a task for if you play Grand Theft Auto 5 and steal 15 cars, you get 100 points.
If we ran Xbox, Ryan, I would like to opt into like notifications, emails, like pump that stuff out, like put it in front of me because it does seem like we're talking about this now. Maybe somebody's hearing about it for the very first time, like that's a thing.
Yeah.
I would like to be maybe reminded about that stuff. Like, show it to me. That'd be great. Remember when the Wii U used to like wake up in the middle of the night and go like, hey, there's a WarioWare game on sale or something weird like that. Like, I don't mind that kind of stuff, especially if like I'm telling the thing that I'm interested in it. Tell me more. That sounds good. But like, don't make me go like pick up my phone and use the app just to keep a streak alive. Like that is some old mobile, like just terrible habit forming garbage. Like get out of here with that. I don't like that.
Totally get it, man. I totally get it. Well, let's let some of our friends in the car with us. It is time for the carpool.
You want to slam this rewards program for another 10 minutes, Ryan?
No, because actually I don't want to hold off because Yarden actually has like a pretty extensive question for us to talk.
I was going to ask you about it because obviously we don't talk before the show at all.
Of course.
I feel like today we did our Black Friday bit and maybe next week we do Yardens, but you can read the question. That's kind of what I saw coming. I was like, this is a cruise control topic, perhaps.
Yeah, I think so too. So let's start with Quaggy. I can love that his name's Quaggy now. Quaggy says, do you think Phil Spencer is a closet Xenobabe?
Hell yeah.
So I'm going to just come out and say it. I actually wouldn't be surprised if Phil Spencer has played Xenoblade because Phil Spencer actually plays a lot of video games and he's mentioned a lot of times he plays a lot of games on Switch. So it wouldn't surprise me if Phil Spencer has actually played Xenoblade Chronicles 3 and actually likes that game.
He's got good taste, man. He absolutely would play He would be a Xenobabe. I think so. It's just a state of mind too.
Yeah, because we actually like I'm of course on like Phil Spencer's on my friends list and I see him playing games all the time. Hey, I added him a long time ago. He lets anyone.
Phil Spencer?
He lets anyone add him at this point. But you can see all the games Phil plays and all his achievements are public and stuff too. So like it's always cool like when I pop on my Xbox and look at my friends list and Phil's playing like Redfall or like
Redfall's on sale too. Redfall I'm gonna pick up, I think.
Yeah. I love how Wario 64 was advertising it too. He's like, it's a steelbook that comes with a free game.
Yeah.
Instead of actually advertising the game itself. But anyways, Quaggy, I wouldn't be surprised if Phil Spencer is actually a
definitely. I love that Xenoblade makes its way over onto this show, of course.
Of course, as always. And then the last question before I read Yarden's comes to us from Nagachaka, who says, the Nintendo Drive crew recently did some streams for the Unstoppable Xenobabes movement. The PlayStation Drive crew aims to do streams for The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered. So question is, will the Xbox Drive be doing something to celebrate Persona 3 Reload, which is coming to the one and only Game Pass in 3 months? So Nagachaka, believe it or not, Garrett and I on RPG Cave, we mentioned at the end of the show, we're like, off the cuff of like, Garrett, maybe we should actually do something for Persona 3 Reload. Maybe we should play it on stream together. Maybe do some science. So I think the plans are already in the works for us to maybe play Persona 3 Reload on stream together at some point when it comes out. But it's just whether or not we can actually sell Sean Capri on Persona 3 Reload. Probably not, though.
Probably not. Well, maybe. I mean, I was looking at it on Switch. They got everything on sale. Dude, those games are on sale everywhere.
That's true.
Persona 4 Golden, again, also on sale on Xbox, too.
It's also important to note with Persona 3 and Persona 4 on Game Pass currently, because those will actually be leaving Game Pass in January. So you will probably, if you want to play those games,
good to know.
You should pick them up while they're on sale. With Persona 3 Reload coming to Game Pass day and date for sure, Garrett and I will have something planned, and Sean's more than welcome to join us to celebrate the Xbox Drive with Persona 3 Reload if he wants.
Probs not.
Yeah.
Rocket League stands a chance. There's a bit of a Rocket League movement kind of like bubbling up, Ryan. I don't know if you've seen that, because we don't play current games, Ryan, when we do this sort of thing. This is not about like what's the latest and greatest. We got to look back.
Also, Sean, I was very tempted to fire up the stream this weekend to play some Jurassic Park on Genesis.
There you go.
To show it off. So I mean, just to throw it out there with even older games, Sean. Jurassic Park on Xbox.
These things cannot be forced, and I appreciate the question. 100%. It's a great question. Because I'm having some of the most fun in video games I've had in a long time. Just like randomly selecting Xenoblade Chronicles 3, and we're all playing it. Lachlan and I are like within 20 minutes of each other in the game. Yeah. Like we're locked in, unintentionally, of course, but we're there. But there's a lot of other games, man, that I'd love for us to all play together. I'd love to play some NHL. I'd love to get some sports stuff going on. Some of that there, FC. I mean, like Starfield's going to come back soon enough. They got that update, by the way, Ryan. They got that DLSS update on PC I've been waiting for, and they just need maps. Come on, God, Howard, give me my maps and I'll be good to go. I know people don't think I look at maps, but I need maps.
The real thing you and I should think about is when Baldur's Gate 3 comes to Xbox, we should maybe think about doing some multiplayer Baldur's Gate 3.
Yep. Is it cross-platform multiplayer?
No, but I will find a way to make sure we can make that happen. If you're down.
Can you do multiplayer character creator? Can you do that together?
If only it would let us do that.
Baldur's Gate is on my list. Baldur's Gate it's up and coming.
Because I hear the multiplayer is awesome, but I don't know anyone else who has the game on PlayStation, so I don't know who to play with.
Oh, that was your first mistake.
But imagine if we could play together, Sean. Imagine if you and I could play together, and then we could even maybe play on stream, and people could tell us what choices to make.
I literally made a list of the games that I could have a tournament bracket coming up here, Ryan. The tournament bracket is boiling over even.
Yeah.
There's just a ton. There's a ton of games I could be playing, but Xenoblade is it. I love this idea. I want to hear others. I'd love to hear that in the Discord. Like, what else is everybody playing? Like, what have you been meaning to play? There's always the thing about Xenoblade is there's a couple of people in the community who are like diehard Xenoblade fans.
Yeah.
And I feel like I don't know if we have that for Xbox. And if I'm missing something off the top of my head, people should correct me. Like, what is the game out there that there's we have people who are just diehard, whatever. Is it Halo? Is it Forza? Whatever it is. I'd love to know that.
Yeah. Because there are certain games, third-party games, that I think we've got some diehard people. Like me and Nagachaka are diehard Resident Evil people. But you're right. With Xbox first-party stuff, not so much. Although the real question I have to ask Sean, when's the movement for everyone playing 24 the game going to happen? When's this little gem going to invade the Discord and we're all going to play it together, Sean? Just no. You're just shaking your head. Excellent. I love
that one.
I love it, Sean.
Not that one.
All right. So let's read Yarden's question real quick. You're right. Yeah. I think we could probably turn this into
this is good for next week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Jordan. Not Yarden. I kept misspelling. It's pronouncing your name, Jordan. I kept saying Yarden for some reason. Jordan says, if you don't mind, I'm going to steal from the Nintendo Drive and ask this. You two are in charge of making a holiday basket for Big Daddy Phil. What are you putting in it? Suggestion, this doesn't need to be only games. We pick a game, a comic book, and a soundtrack to include or something like that. Yes, absolutely. I think that's what we're going to have to wait for next week, Sean. I think that's an interesting.
It's a great question, and I love opening it up to not just game. Let's load it up with little stocking stuffers and whatever else. I think that is so good.
In fact, Sean, we could open up, maybe throw a 4K Blu-ray in there for him. I could maybe throw an anime figure in there for Phil. We could do some interesting stuff with this.
I am down.
Especially I lament the fact that I didn't get to be part of the Nintendo Drive's gift basket from last year, because y'all would have just gotten Metroid gifts from me and it would have been great. So yeah, glad that we'll probably do that on next week's show. So there you go. So there you go. Neat. But anyways, I think that's going to do it for tonight's episode of the Xbox Drive. But before we go, Sean, plugs go.
Follow us on Twitch, twitch.tv/Carpool Gaming Live, where we will be playing Xenoblade. Maybe I'll fire up some of that there. Alan Wake. Maybe I'll even just buy games for a stream. Right? Maybe that might be a thing. Twitch.tv, that'd be a good place for you to support us over there. Carpoolgaming.com. We have a store there, Ryan. And I forgot about this. I totally screwed up over the last probably most of the year. We never talk about the perks that come along at patreon.com/carpoolgaming, but gold members get a discount on our stores. And you all should know that. And I'm sorry, guys. Sorry about that. Gold members get free shipping from our store. And to be honest with you, I haven't done the math on if we lose money on that. So take advantage of that before I get around to calculating any of that kind of stuff, because it's entirely possible that we're losing our shirt on it. But you gain a shirt by us losing a shirt, if you like. So carpoolgaming.com. You can follow me on Twitter at Sean Capri. Sean like Connery, Capri like the pants. And I think that's all for me today, Ryan. That's it.
That's so much losing of shirts, Sean. I'm so confused.
We're all losing our shirts. Yeah.
Good God. As for me, you can find me on Twitter, or X, if you want to call it that, at Ryan Turford. You'd also find us on Twitter at Carpool Gaming. Again, don't necessarily follow me on Twitter unless you don't want to get spammed with Final Fantasy 14 stuff, because that just happens just out of the blue. You can also find us on YouTube, youtube.com/Carpool Gaming. Of course, podcast services around the globe. So for Sean Capri, I'm Ryan Turford. This has been episode 318 of the Xbox Drive, and we're out. Bye.
Bye.